All right, good evening, everyone. And thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for making your way over tonight, and a very warm welcome to the Hive Law. We are a creative co-working space and private office space for entrepreneurs, creators, and startups. We currently have 22 locations worldwide, so if you're interested in knowing more about any of our locations, please feel free to get in touch. And my name is Jerry, and tonight it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you all to my esteemed guest, Djoann Fal, co-founder and CEO of GetLinks, which is Asia's largest talent tech network. Thank you for coming. How are you doing tonight?
I'm okay. I'm surprised there is so many people interested to hearing my story. Okay, here we go. So really appreciate that you guys made the move. You fought very hard the coronavirus, at least the panic, to show up here. So I'm really surprised. I thought we're gonna be 2 or 3, but we are actually around 20 here. So thank you so much for coming and being interested to our story.
Yeah, so we're very excited to learn more about the man and journey behind GetLinks. You've got a long list of accomplishments, from being a part of Cairo Society to being a Forbes 30 under 30 entrepreneur. So you've had quite a ride. Let's start a little bit about being selected to be a Cairo Fellow. Could you tell us a little bit about what that means and how you were chosen?
Sure. Anyone know Cairo Society here? Okay. One. Awesome. Yo. So Cairo Society is an interesting organization. Started probably 8 years ago in the US by people like Richard Branson, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. And this is a mentor-mentees network for entrepreneurs below 25 who are using technology to drive social impact. So it's really, really horrible. If you're 26, you cannot be a Kairos Fellow. And if you're not using technology to drive social impact, which I don't really know what it means, you're not selected. So it's very exclusive, very elitist. Most of the people come from Harvard, Stanford, very rich, and but they look at guys like me sometimes who are not from Harvard, and they let us in. But we have to work double hard. So it's been very interesting. We got a chance to meet people really, really high caliber. And there is a yearly summit happening in New York where those big shots are coming, and that's been it's been incredible to be able to have this very close network. Got the chance to, for example, have a ride in helicopter in the Rockefeller house and have a dinner with David Rockefeller. When you're like 22, 23. So that's the type of thing that they offer. Unfortunately, they don't operate anymore in Asia. Sorry for anyone who wanted to apply. They are only doing this in the US now, and they started a fund. But good news, I'm starting something similar here, which I welcome all of you. And it's going to be called Adaptivist, and it's going to be on the same framework around dinners, mentorship. So if you're interested, just reach out.
And I read somewhere that you were once at a stage in your life where you had a bit of a struggle. Behind on rent and was really struggling. So can you talk a little bit about this part of your life and how it brought you to where you are now?
Sure. So I read into the article of the event, 7-Eleven, food and all that. This is marketing. Good job, Beehive. It was not as bad as this. I love 7-Eleven food. What's wrong with it? Okay. There's a lot of things wrong with it. No, I think we've got to face a lot of crazy stuff in this journey. I came here in South Asia 6 years ago. I went to Shanghai to discover Asia for the first time. Took a big slap on my face, realizing that France was not the best country in the world, just like that, and there were Asian countries that were actually really going fast, with very interesting, young population, growing, very hungry. And that got me the interest to actually explore more what's up with Asia in these crazy cities with 10 million people and more. Right? I think a lot of you here are foreigners, have been inspired by these Asian cities, that's why you live here. So just like you, I was trying to explore that, and I got the opportunity to work in Lazada. Anyone of you know Lazada? Okay, most of you. Good. You've done a good job in advertising. So that was my job. I was just an intern in the regional marketing team, so covering Singapore, Hong Kong, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and we were shooting ads. And I had a job at that time, which was okay. BOI, certificate, visa, it's a good time, And then somehow I decided to, step away from this. 5 years ago, actually, for the launch of the Hive, I organized the launch party here. You can imagine 300 people around here. This was the type of party we throw here, and I guess the Hive still liked me for that reason. That's why I invited me today. Thank you. We trashed that place here. It was crazy. We got really a lot of people, and it was really fun. So I've done a couple of these events. It was just tech networking parties. First one was in a bar in Tonglo. Third one was here, and that started to kick off. So I started to meet a lot of really cool people, just like I'm pretty sure all of you here, who were very interested into technology, into entrepreneurship, and into gathering, right? And for me as a foreigner in Bangkok, I didn't know many people. I wanted to connect with not just locals, but locals that are like-minded and that are interested into technology and startups and read TechCrunch. I've been really doing those events for 2-3 times, and after the fourth one, we got 800 people at that event, just putting beers and people here. It was at the club at Koi. Some of you guys have been there. So 800 people there. That was a really big night. And then this is when I decided to leave that job of Lazada to just focus on those events, because I was making more money throwing one-day events once a month than to my salary in Lazada. So it just didn't make sense. And then this is where the problem started. And that's where the episode started to go, the entrepreneur journey, the Death Valley. You all heard about that, right? So I was very confident because I had, $20,000 on the bank account. I was cool. I was making money from these networking events. And then I met a really cool guy, incredible Thai CTO, who somehow quit his job right away to start this new app with me. It was really crazy, more crazy than me actually, because he was making a lot of money in his job. And then we were two of us in a co-working space, starting to build this new app for our events and for people to connect to these events that we were organizing. And that was like a co-founder matching app called Links. We start to get excited, hire a couple of developers, start to run the thing, get some interns, and then we start to talk to some investors. Oh, we want to be the new Tinder for networking in tech. We're gonna replace LinkedIn, and we're gonna be LinkedIn for millennials in South Asia. And then investors say, yes, sure, go ahead. Constant, the owner of the Hive, talked to me right there and interviewed like, okay. I pitched to him and he was like, yeah, why not? Come back later. Right? Didn't put money in. Signature to you, Constant. We're gonna co-invest together soon. All right. But yeah, investors drag you along, and then after a couple of months, after 6-9 months, you realize, okay, we still haven't got any investors, we still haven't got any sales, and the money is burning. And then the $20,000 that you had actually, surprisingly, get to become minus 1,000 because you realize that French taxes didn't forget you, even though you were not in France and not having a job anymore. And so I ended up, from a day to another, having minus $1,000 in my bank account from this tax hit. And the next day I learned that my roommate, which was a really cool friend of mine, decided to move out and go to Canada with her boyfriend. that she won't be able to pay the lease. And then so I lost my roommate, and then minus $1,000. And this is like 10 days before my birthday. That's how the setup is. And if you let me finish that story, somehow I will tell you one of the secret weapons that I learned from that. You guys are interested? So I was really stressed. I was about to cry. I couldn't call my mom or my dad because they didn't want to talk to me because they didn't want me to start a company. So no one to cry. I couldn't go back to France, my country, because I didn't have enough money to buy a plane ticket. And I had this huge rent to pay. And I said, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna take a shower. I think. And somehow I got this idea. I like Kickstarter. All my friends hit me up and say, hey, John, this is your birthday. Let's go out. Let's go to the nightclub. Let's drink for your birthday. And I was like, in my head, I was like, man, if you have any idea of how much money I have, you wouldn't be saying that. But I couldn't tell them, right? Because in that situation, you don't want to share that you're in deep shit, right? And you say, yeah, cool. And I started to have this idea. Maybe I can actually ask all my friends, instead of buying me a drink or a bottle in the club, maybe they can actually just give me money instead, so that I can pay my rent. And I pitched that stupid idea to my intern, who obviously said, "Oh, that's an amazing idea." And we just got it to fucking do it, and we created a Kickstarter page, and we just put that up, and we say our story. Hey, we're entrepreneurs. We want to start this company. No money. We're broke. Please help us for my birthday. This was the first birthday fundraising campaign on Kickstarter, and on the paper we've raised $600, which was my rent. Good. But actually we got more than $1 million baht from that campaign because several personal investors came to reach out to me, and one of them actually put the money in. So I think this is just one of the many stories you will heard about when you're really hard in deep struggle. Actually, you become very creative. So stay humble, stay hungry, don't eat much. So you will be more creative in your company. I think that's why I'm coming here. Just like I'm not wearing Louis Vuitton. Not that I don't have Louis Vuitton. I haven't one. But no, I think it's important to stay humble, to stay creative, and this is how you really get yourself out of trouble like no one else, and that's how you start the big journeys.
Thank you. And let's talk a little bit about your company. How did you conceptualize GetLinks?
So yeah, during that moment, I think all these events that we're doing, connecting all these tech people, interested to know what startup means. Because back in the days, no one knew startups here in South Asia. So we got to realize, there's this new industry that is starting to emerge. There's this new digital thing, right? And so I've been running a lot of hackathons and other events back in Paris at the time. And when I came here, there were none of it. So we were just riding that wave of digital transformation, I guess, or the startup entrepreneurship journey. And we just ride that really hard. So we've been the first and biggest tech event here back in 2015. 4,000 people discovering startups onto a tech conference, having Google, Line, and all these big guys on stage. Then we've done the same in Vietnam. And we've just been riding that wave of technology access and digital transformation. This took us to an accelerator in California, which they told us, hey guys, you have no fucking idea of what you're doing. You don't have a business model. You're not gonna build a company. And this is where we realized, okay, maybe it's time to actually find an online way to make money as well, not just the events. And at the time we had, a couple of thousand people in our database, and we started to see that those people were interacting into the app, and we could see patterns. So the patterns were very similar to a Tinder networking app, and we look at the chat, and we were seeing that actually people were not networking. They were actually like, hey, you are a developer? Yes, I'm a developer. Hey, do you want to come have a coffee at my office? Yes, okay, I'm coming. And then I realized that, oh wait, this is not networking, this is recruitment. People are actually getting hired through our app. And this is how we found out that actually maybe we should start job posting. And actually we had this incredibly valuable asset, which was this very small database of maybe 1,000 tech people. But at the time it was the biggest database in Thailand. And then we just continued to grow that database with more events, with more content. And we raised a bit of money to scale that up. And then we started to monetize that hiring in tech.
And let's get into driving social impact with tech. How do you believe others in the tech industry can contribute to this movement of social impact?
There's so many different ways, right? But when you look at the TV, today there's coronavirus. So just not, millions of Chinese not taking a plane, contributing or producing climate change. So thank you, Corona. You're already, driving social impact by giving less carbon emission to our children. That's a very ironic way. Okay, don't take me on that. I think for my side, my business is helping people to find jobs in technology. That's where GetLinks is famous, and the social network we've built around that is towards this what we call digital literacy. So when you look at the average salary in Thailand, and when you look at the type of salary that people in our platform have, and we have more than 1 million people now in our platform, we're average of 7 to 20 times the average salary in Thailand. And this is just because one person, one human, just know 1 or 2 skills that this other human doesn't know. And that's crazy. Right? Think about it. And probably a lot of us here have these skills, fortunately. You're all somehow into digital, online. But yeah, like you could have someone next to you pay 20 times lesser than you just because he doesn't know JavaScript. And I think there's a huge work to be done hand in hand with governments, hand in hand with education providers, hand in hand with hiring partners and companies to create and really develop this digital literacy. Because by giving access to people to know how to work in a digital era, you just provide them to have a much higher salary than everyone else in the country, but also you actually provide them with a chance to survive next 10 years. Because everything's going to be digital. And this is not a question of do you have to adapt to these changes, it's just a question of how fast you're going to adapt, and that will define your salary. Right? So I think there's a lot of quick wins into helping people to become digitally literate, and that's going to make a lot of social impact just by increasing their salary, being able to have a family, buy a house, etc.
And in your book, The Adaptive Economy, you talk a lot about how the nature of work is changing. Can you talk a little bit more about this? And do you think the future is prepared for this change?
Yeah. So the last 5-6 years, I've been really curious. The way I'm curious is I meet people like you guys, and I've met more than 1,000 tech people, I think, face to face during coffees, restaurants, conversations, and I've learned a lot from these people. And I've been trying to consolidate all my understanding and learning of what these people knew to where these people are going and where the world is going. At least my world, the digital world. And this book I'm publishing this week, actually. You can go and pre-order it. Support is talking about this. All my learning about where the world is going. Not only about the future of work. I think this is there's a much bigger implication than just the future of work and technology and fintech. I think our generation is on the midst of seeing a lot of reshuffling. I think there's a lot of major events that's going to happen next decade that are unprecedented. I think not only in terms of the technology description, which we're starting to see accelerate, right? More and more things are really crazy, right? I can talk now and be seen by maybe the whole world if I'm interesting enough. Fortunately, I'm too shy, I'm not that interesting, so we only have maybe 100 people watching this now. But technically, I have this ubiquity power that only God has, right? And I'm not even talking about AI and all this stuff, right? But technology disruption is going to be a really big mover of how we live. But also, that's going to create reshuffle in politics. That's going to reshuffle how we read money, how we work, right? So beyond just the workplace, I think there's a lot of parameters that's going to change. And in the meantime, our society has been, really leveraging on very cheap energy through, carbon, oil, gas, etc. I think this is going to be changing, and we're going to see a lot of these impact our lives. And climate change, of course, it's something that's going to accelerate as well. So there's a lot of things to adapt. It's not just technology and coronavirus. I think it's climate change, technology, political and geopolitical reshuffling that's going to redefine how we do business, how your company will survive. And I think all the leaders, if you're a corporate manager, if you're owner of a company, or if you're an investor, you're going to need to think about it, right? And coronavirus is just a very small glimpse on how the world will need to adapt. Right? Today we just switch face-to-face meeting into Zoom, right, and do Skype meetings, right? But this is just a very small thing to adapt. I think the adaptation our society is going to need to have and make happen is going to be much bigger. And this is how I'm describing it into my book, trying to give the understanding and tips of what I think is going on to help people to survive but also thrive during the next decade. So yeah, this is about it.
And just one more question before we wrap up the first session of the night. Through the accumulation of support for GetLinks from giants like Alibaba to New World Group, what would you say has been the most rewarding moment since you started GetLinks?
Okay, definitely Alibaba was cool. Like, being the first startup in Thailand to receive investment from Alibaba, probably one of the first in South Asia. In 2018, I was 26. It was pretty cool, for my ego. And then there is the return on that, which we're going to talk about that, right? But it's not only fun, but that was rewarding. I think at some point, I got to have the chance before anyone at my age to have this access of contacts from this network, and to be able to share it was really rewarding. Because once you have this, it's not just, oh, I have it, keep it, right? I think it's been really rewarding to be able to share these connections to everyone I have a chance to talk to. We'll be happy to share this connection with you guys. And I think, yeah, being able to really, it's my first company, and be able to scale that up to 120 people, be a CEO of that, at that age was incredibly rewarding, but also very stressful. And this is why I recently promoted my co-founder to be the new CEO. And I just stepped down as CEO because it's just too stressful. Honestly, managing people is something that is cool when you start, maybe up to 20, 30 people. But when you have, $10 million sales targets and people complaining about their salary every day, you just want to stay away from that. Some people are here and love, so I guess you guys are in this situation. So it's rewarding, but also very, very, very stressful. And when you're at that age, you always have this imposter syndrome. If some of you know what it means, it's very sure. It's very, very simple. You're 22, you're the youngest guy in your company, and you're the CEO, and you're in Asia. So everyone thinks you should not be there, right? And why are you black? why you're not Asian, and who the hell are you to give me orders, right? And I have 3 kids, you don't have kids, why should I listen to you, right? So you always feel like you have to double walk and to prove yourself. So on top of the pressure of having a couple of $1 million in your bank and Alibaba and all these things, you have this stress of having to show that actually you worth it. So I think with power come responsibilities, and honestly, it's look good, it's look really good, but it's also very hard. And I recommend people to really think twice before they start this journey, because I was dying. not really dying, but it's really a ride. It's really a ride. This morning I was with this girl. She's a woman. she's one of these tycoon. She's like a really big Filipino American billionaire, and she was telling me, "Wow, I look at you on the internet. You're incredible. I really wanted to hear your story." And I tell her my story, and yet she's like, "Wow, what the fuck?" Like she was like, "Oh, you live life fast forward," and I was like, "Yeah, cool." And then I think like, did I really wanted that? Actually, no. I just want a normal life. Just that this thing fucking happened, and you have to catch up, right? You have to adapt, right? And this is where I think adapting is really the key skills of the 21st century. That's why my book is about that now. It's about how do you adapt, man? Because sometimes life gonna just go fast forward, and if you're not adapting, you're gonna take a lot of it in your head. So it's been very rewarding, but it's also, very hard, and there's a lot of things to think of before to start this type of journey.
A great way to end our first session of the night. Thank you for sharing your stories. We'll take a quick 10 minutes break, and during this time we'll pass some piece of papers around. So the next session will be a more interactive session, so we'll gather all the questions, and I'll ask John more about the questions that you have. All right, see you in 10 minutes. The bar is open if you want to order more drinks as well.